Hi,
Hello,
boys
everybody.
and girls. Mr. Krivak, Mrs. Brady here to talk to you about something new with Warrior Pride.
Today we're going to talk to you about our behavior expectation flowchart.
This is something that helps us understand when students aren't following the Warrior Pride expectations, what happens when we don't do that. So the first one is the warning zone. I know all of us make mistakes and we forget something, so sometimes your teacher might give you a warning.
And it says here that it's a teacher reminder of expectations.
Now, you get a warning. What happens if you do the same thing again and forget to follow Warrior Pride? Then you go to the caution zone, and you might be asked to fill out a Think About It sheet. The Think About It sheet has you write down your name and the date and what was your behavior. What were the reasons for your behavior? How did your behavior affect others? What is my plan to improve my behavior? And do I need to apologize to someone? And if so, why? Because that's important. When you're done filling this out, Mr. Krivak, what do?
Well,
do they have to sign it?
Then they have to sign it, and then you have to bring it down to the office. When you bring it down to the office, then we're going to make a copy and we're going to sign it. And finally, it has to go home for somebody else to sign.
Because it's real important that our parents at home know what's happening at school. If we make mistakes, our parents have to help us to learn from those mistakes. So we do the Think About It sheet, and goodness sakes, we make a mistake again and we're not following our Warrior Pride expectations. Then you move to the danger zone. The danger zone means what, Mr. Krivak?
Well, now we have to call mom or dad or whoever you live with at home to tell them about what happened.
And there's something else that happens as well.
They also get to lose recess.
And I know recess is important to a lot of our students here at Gillis Sweet, so not many of us are going to get to the danger zone, right?
I hope not.
But again, sometimes we make mistakes. And the final piece to our behavior flow chart is the critical zone. The critical zone means, we had a warning and we still did another behavior, and we got a caution zone and we filled out a Think About It sheet, and we still had another problem following our Warrior Pride expectations, and we ended up in the danger zone, and we had to make a phone call home, and we had to lose our recess. And then we did another mistake and didn't follow our Warrior Pride expectations, and we ended up in the critical zone, which brings you here to the office. We love seeing our students down in the office, don't you, Mr. Krivak?
I do.
But I really like seeing them down here for good reasons. Unfortunately, when you come down at the critical zone, then Mr. Krivak or Mrs. Brady has to talk to us. What happens then?
Well, then unfortunately, you might have to spend some time in the office with us, away out of your class and away from lunch and recess and your friends.
And then I think it's real important that we make another phone call home.
Yep.
We're really hoping that most of our Gillis Sweet students will never get to the critical zone. Some might get to the danger zone. A few might get to the caution zone. I'm sure lots of you may get a warning. And that's okay, because the most important thing is that we all learn from our mistakes.
Now I have a question, Mrs. Brady. Can students get a Think About It form even at lunch or recess?
Yes, they can, because I know our lunch and recess monitors have all of those outside. So sometimes you might be having a problem following our Warrior expectations on the playground, and you might have to fill out a Think About It sheet, and then what do?
Then they have to bring it down to the office and have it and turn it in and get it signed.
Okay, and then they have to take it back to their classroom teacher, because it's important that the teacher gets it. What happens, Mr. Krivak, if I decide, I'm not going to take this back to my teacher, I might just hide it?
You know what? That's not a good decision, because then we'll know, because we're going to be making a copy. And then we're going to send that copy with you, and that's how the recess teachers know that you came to the office.
So it's always important when an adult asks you to do something, like bring the Think About It sheet back to your teacher, that we make sure we do that. I don't know, I think we've talked a lot about our behavior flow chart, which is going to help all of us understand what our expectations are here at Gillis Sweet with our Warrior Pride, and I'm sure your teachers will help remind you as well. Anything else, Mr. Krivak?
I think that's it.
I think so too. You guys have a great Warrior Pride Day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.